Welcome to the Full Armor of Game, episode 47. We're talking about getting better with women quickly. So we've got a special guest here from the Players University, a young gun, Richard, who is, at the time of recording this, 23 years old, just about to turn 24, and he has made ridiculous, crazy improvements in a year, maybe a year and a half since just really learning game. And he has a ton of great stuff to share with you guys, especially you guys that are just trying to get back into learning game with women. He shows you how quickly it's possible, and he just has a very strategic mind. So we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff relating to getting better with women, getting better at understanding women and attracting women in a short, quick period of time.
You bring the crowns and heads of conquered kings to my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death.
This is Sparta! Put on the whole armor of
Game.
This is where we fight! On these shield boys!
Welcome to the Full Armor Game podcast. Richard, why don't you just start with telling us, introduce yourself, your name, age, where you're at, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, what's up, Adam? Thank you very much for having me on, man. I'm pumped. So I am Richard. I am 24, and I'm from South Carolina, the Low Country. Get all Low Country women down here, and I am very pumped to get into how I run my game down on the East Coast.
Can you take us through basically what was your life like before game? Before even kind of understanding, learning women, like, can you take us kind of through your experience with women and the frustrations you had or what seemed to go wrong?
Yeah, of course. So I wouldn't even consider my world picking up with women until maybe high school. And by then, I mean picking up. I have the traditional male story. Got my first girlfriend in sophomore year of high school, I believe. I was 16. And this was the whole putting her on a pedestal. I'm lucky to have a girlfriend. She's the prize. The whole shebang lasted maybe 4 months, got my heart broken, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that was the first moment in my life where a woman really impacted me. And I kind of realized, I'm like, holy shit, I think I definitely did something wrong here. I have no idea what, but that did not go swimmingly. That did not go smooth. She's off probably with another man by the time we broke up, and I'm sitting here completely heartbroken. I'm like, my God, what did I do? Or maybe what didn't I do? I was completely dumbfounded, and that sucked. So throughout the rest of high school, didn't get another girlfriend. I want to say senior year, when I was 18, I had a couple things with a couple of girls, and that was a little bit better. But I wasn't going at it. Still, I was not going at it the correct way, because I think at that point, what I was going at it with, kind of the anger from what had happened a couple of years prior, and it wasn't the right way. It was too controlling, too domineering, too just over the top, because I didn't want that to happen again, but it just wasn't the right way. So
wait, so let me ask you a question about that. So
yeah.
When you knew that something went wrong in your previous one and you were pedestalizing women or pedestalizing your girl, because it's still relatively fresh in your mind since you're a younger man here, can you dive in a little bit, dissect what did that mean for you, a normal guy in a relationship when you felt like you were pedestalizing her?
So look, I want to get into something, and I hope that this is the basic instinct with the majority of men, because if not, something's really fucking wrong. But there was one moment that I told Czar about when I first started talking to him, and me and this girl that I was dating when I was 16 were at some party or something like that. And of course, one jokester brings up the question, so who wears the pants or whatever. And I was ready to sit there and be like, yeah, me. And this girl, without having to think twice about it, sits up and says, "Oh yeah, that's me." And let me tell you, I was morbidly embarrassed. Okay, that did not sit right with me. And of course I looked at her. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She continues to look at me, almost laughing, and goes, "I mean, I thought it was obvious." And I remember that moment, Adam, stung. Whew, I remember that so vaguely. And what I wanted to get into was I knew that her saying that did not feel right. Something did not feel right about that. I hated that. That bothered me for like the rest of high school until I was 20, until I started learning game. Something did not sit well with me at all when she said that. And that was a very pivotal moment for me when I knew something was wrong. Something was absolutely wrong. I was not doing something right at all.
Yeah, well, in that moment you say where you can feel that something was wrong, you didn't know what it was, but it was like she like cut your masculine
Yep.
like instinct just in half with
Yes.
that. And I remember growing up when I was still in my beta programming, I still remember when guys like my uncles or older men would tell me, "Hey, the key to a good marriage is happy wife, happy life." And I remember they would say that, and I wasn't good with women at all, but that was the
Yeah.
same. I had this instinct where it didn't feel right. I was kind of like,
Yep.
"What? That doesn't
Yep.
make sense."
Mhm.
And I feel like that's something that a lot of guys almost get trained out of over the years with women. They lose that
Mhm.
touch with that masculine instinct of knowing when no, that was too far. They
Yep.
just yeah, they go numb to it.
And I think I got more lucky because that instinct that you just brought up, that never went away in me. Now, I didn't know how to channel it or what to do about it until I started getting put on game. But I got very lucky because I never submitted myself to the idea of, you know what, yeah, happy wife, happy life. She's surprised. That never sat well with me. I didn't know what to do with it, but I always had that gut feeling of that shit does not feel right. I don't like that at all.
Okay, so now going back to when you mentioned you learned you knew something was wrong in your first relationship. The
Yeah.
second, when you came back and you said that you were kind of more aggressive or more
Yep.
controlling or dominant
Yep.
in that way, was that
Mhm.
because you just go, "I'm going to try something the opposite," or were you trying to like read little advice here and there and trying to pick up little tips on Reddit or what?
So that was out of fear of getting called a bitch again and getting
Mhm.
slapped in the face with her dick, like what happened 2 years before. That was out of fear, and I pretty much told myself I'm gonna be so masculine and so dominating that no woman can ever do this to me again. Which in turn ended up being a bit controlling. It looked insecure, this and that. So that wasn't the right way to channel that energy. But that's the way that I was going about it. It was definitely out of fear of that happening again.
Okay, cool. So now you went through that other kind of relationship and you said you're in that more of that controlling or what phase. How did you morph out of that, or at what point did you start to learn maybe I can actually learn game?
Yeah, so I dated this girl when I was 20. Excuse me, it's a couple years out of high school. And I still had that mentality of, okay, if I can be so masculine, this will never happen again. And it got to the point where I was so in my head, worried about being emasculated, embarrassed, and none of that. I was preventing myself from enjoying the true benefits of the relationship that was right in front of me.
Mhm.
And I remember at one point, this girl, she was very sweet, nothing against her at all. I remember she told me one time we got into an argument, handled it the wrong way. I got emotional, was kind of yelling. She was yelling, blah, blah, blah. And she told me, you know, you're a very opinionated person, you know that? And she didn't yell at me. She didn't say it in a mean way. She wasn't being disrespectful about it. She was just letting me know, hey, you're an extremely opinionated person. And that kind of stuck with me too. I remember that very well to this day. And when that happened, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm being a bit too aggressive. Maybe I've been, holding this aggressiveness about me that isn't working either. And after that happened, before I even got put on game, after that happened, another kind of light went off. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's okay to have an argument or a disagreement, but there are definitely healthy ways to work through it. There are better ways to hear her out and then say my piece and hear her out again. I don't always have to come out on top. Maybe it's okay if we just meet in the middle, compromise, and then move on, forgive, forget, and love again. Maybe that's a better route to take. So I remember that moment impacted me very much as well.
So you're at 20 years old now.
Yep.
When did you step into game, and how did that process
Right.
start for you?
Uh-huh. So that relationship ended right when I turned 20. And then I remember, I believe from 20 to 21-ish, 22, it was very dry because I didn't go to college. I just stayed in my hometown, was working. I was waiting to turn 21. So I was kind of just hanging out, doing nothing, wasn't really dating. It was very dry. I really don't remember much because of how little that happened during that year.
Mm.
So I believe, 21 and a half, 22, I came across Czar, and something about that, I'm like, you know what? I've been out of the game. I haven't got any women in a while. I'd really like to pick back up with this. I like what this guy's talking about. Let me follow him. And immediately, right off the bat, I got a consultation with him, and I covered pretty much everything we just talked about, and completely put me back on, how to go about, let's go about this in a different way. Started going out more, approaching women, was extremely nervous, fumbled a lot. And very slowly, I started getting into this groove of, you know what, I'm going to completely forget about what happened when I was 16, what happened what I did when I was 20. And I'm going to take a completely different road now and try something completely different. And very slowly, it just started working and working and getting better and better. But I failed and then worked and then failed again. And then very, very slowly, I kind of started getting into my groove. And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, now this feels right. I think this was the feeling that I was looking for when I was 16. I just didn't know what it was, but this feels right to be put on the correct form of game.
Yeah, and I really like what you said about that, about just deciding that, who you were at 16, that doesn't matter, and being able to leave that behind, because that's exactly the shift that I made from high
Yeah.
school Adam. I was like, nope, college Adam is a player. And I
Yeah.
just set my mind like that, and I was just like, it's gonna happen. And I think a lot of guys are even reluctant to even pretend or believe that that can happen for them, but it's like, hey, you're starting a new journey. It's a new foreign language, and the more you
Yep.
learn about it, the more comfortable and fluent you get. And so if you decide you're going to learn game, it's like you can decide to shed that old
Yep.
beta caterpillar out of you, and
Yep.
become an alpha butterfly, even though that's
Right
probably not
away.
the right symbolism for it.
Sure. Works for me.
I want guys to understand too, you're 24 now, and that recent? Because I remember you being 23 just recently.
Dude, I don't know where the year went. I'm turning 24 in like not even a month. Like I have no clue where the time went.
Oh, okay, wait, you're turning 24 in a month.
Yeah, but like not even a month. It's like right
Oh,
around the corner.
okay. I was gonna say, I thought you were 23. I was like, did I miss your birthday, man? I
No,
should wanted to wish you
no,
happy
no, no,
birthday.
no, 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 no. But no, it's like 3 weeks.
Okay, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
that's exciting that you're 23, almost 24.
Mhm.
And again, the reason why you stood out to me is because you went through our 5 week seminar, right?
Yep.
With myself and Czar.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so that was my first experience with you. And I
Yeah.
remember just seeing slowly over time, it's like I can explain a lot of concepts to different guys, but you were seeming to, like a sponge, be able to just
Yep.
understand things, and it just clicked in your head or whatever, because there was such a mass improvement in such a short time. So what do you want to speak on with that about men that are just trying to learn, or scared to dip their toes in about
Of
what's
course.
possible?
Yep. So I'm not exactly sure because I listened to you and Czar's podcast about, simp to pimp and your journey and all that. And I don't quite remember on what side y'all started with, but for me, it was definitely an internal change before I could go and do the external change. And I want to give some great examples of what I did for the internal change and what helped me before I could really go out into the field and start making it happen. So one thing I started doing that me and Zara talked about a lot is I got some flashcards and daily affirmations. I wrote down every things that I would say to myself every day. I'm the man. I'm the prize. I never put women on a pedestal. Um, I'm an alpha. Every girl wants me. I'm confident, strong. I never care about the outcome. I read these religiously 3, 4, 5 times a day. I would flip through them. I started to develop a particular type of women that I wanted because I wanted to get out of that mindset of I'll take what I can get. So I took a piece of paper and I wrote out things, qualities that I wanted in a woman. Maybe not exactly what I would take. I don't want to be too nitpicky, but in general, you know what? This is my type. These are the type of women that I like. I know what I'm worth. These are my standards, and I'm going to shoot for that. So I really started working on this inner confidence that I had. And another thing that I started doing was I didn't even realize that I had this, but it started to come out as I would get more confident. This inner cockiness, this wit, this charm, this charisma, and it was all kind of sunken in. And as soon as I stopped caring about the outcome, I stopped caring about what other people might think of me. I would let it out more and more and more. And now I'm to the point where it just flows out. I don't even care anymore. I just let it flow, and it works like all the time. And if it doesn't, who cares? So once I got that internal game, and I was really confident with myself, then I started going out into the field to concerts more and talking to women, to bars, to social events, et cetera, et cetera, and just approaching women. Sometimes it would work, usually it wouldn't work, but it's just repetition. It got to the point where it would just flow a lot more naturally for me.
So I have a question for you because a lot of guys wonder about bantering with women or almost being able to let out that cocky, funny side.
Yep.
And is there a way that you can relate it or a metaphor that would help guys understand? Like to me, it helps me, at least when I explain it to some guys, when I say like, how are you with your group of buddies, your close buddies? It's like if they say something dumb, you let them have it, you rip on them, you challenge them, you're like, oh, what are you talking about? And you're not afraid to just be loose and just say what's on your mind. You don't care what people think. Like, is there a way that you can relate it? Does that
Yeah.
would that be an energy that you could relate to, or
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that I really like that I remember from the 5 week seminar that you had mentioned was play that money game where you guys try to get rejected. And I think
mm,
that is an excellent thing because one thing that I did, even though my friends and I didn't do the money thing, um, one thing that we kept that energy of, I'm not even trying to get this girl's number. I'm not trying to sleep with her. I'm just trying to go talk to a female for a couple minutes and then come back. That's it. That is literally it. Because when you take off that pressure of,
yes.
okay, I hope she thinks I'm cool enough to sleep with me. I hope she thinks I'm cool enough to go back to her place. When you take all that off, you're just bantering with another human being, and you realize, man, there's nothing to be worried about here. There's nothing to be scared of. They're just people. And when you realize that, then you can actually start spitting game when you see one you really like, because you don't care. You don't care about the outcome, and it makes it a
Yeah.
whole lot easier.
That's so huge right there that you
Yeah.
just mentioned. I mean, I really hope guys can understand. We're going to try to really dissect this to understand how important that is. But if you think about in the overarching, OnlyFans, prostitutes, hookers, women in relationships, marriages, it's like sex is the thing that women dangle over men.
Yep.
So if
Yep.
you can take away that sex, like you said, you take off. That's why I hate the advice when guys are like, you need to approach and number close, number close. I'm like, that's so dumb. You're building bad habits where you're nervous and rushing things. It's like, no, build that muscle of going up and not even caring.
Yep.
Like we said, you try to get rejected. It's like, see what I can get away with here until she rejects me. This is going to be
Yep.
fun because when you take sex off the table in your mind,
Yep.
like you said, you can actually look at her like an equal human being
Yeah.
because it's like the other normal guys you run into your life. You're not trying to get sex from them, so you don't put them on any pedestal.
Exactly. 100%. It takes all the pressure off, really, and it makes it a whole lot easier.
Okay, I want to get you into this realm of thinking of pre kind of game Richard
Mhm.
and more of like post game Richard right now. mindset and confidence. What do you think of? What was kind of your idea of mindset and confidence before, and what's your idea of mindset and confidence now?
Okay. I would say the biggest thing that I had to make a change of was, again, putting them on a pedestal. One thing that I will tell myself, I mean, even to this day, again, it's kind of natural at this point, but at the very beginning, it's very important. One thing that I told myself a lot was, let's say you find a girl and y'all start talking, go on a couple of dates, and things are going well, and then the insecurities start to creep in. What if she doesn't like me? What if she's dating another guy right now? One great thing that I want everyone to start telling themselves: you have gone your entire life without this girl, and it's been 2 weeks, and you're already worried about this shit. Who cares? You've gone your entire life without this girl. Who cares? If shit don't work out, it does not matter at all. And that when I started telling myself that and reminding myself that, again, took her off the pedestal. It allowed me to exhale and be like, okay, I'm just having fun right now. If she's having fun with me, I'm chilling. I'm doing my thing. I'm enjoying my life. She's having fun with me. What more do I need? I'm cool with that. I'm good.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that thought of that. It's like, yeah, you've gone however many years. Even for you, it's like, oh, I've
Yeah.
gone 23 years without this girl. What's two
Yep.
weeks? Well, the guys that are 55, it's like you've gone 55 years
Yeah.
without this woman. Why
Really?
on the second date are you simping for her and
Yep.
changing around your schedule for her,
Wow.
trying to plan all these things to make her happy? It's like,
Yep.
and the funny thing is, not only is that a headache for guys to do, it sends you backwards with women. It just makes her
Yep.
go, "Oh, this guy is just another one that's just going to chase me, and I didn't even have to earn it."
Yep. Completely. Completely. Yeah. So, and when I started developing that mentality, again, when you don't care, when you're in a position of, if we don't work out, whatever, or another affirmation that I said, if a girl leaves, another one will come. Another one will take her place. Abundance mindset. Zara talks about that all the time. Abundance mentality. When you develop that aha, that's when all the pressure is gone. And now I can really start letting out my wit, my charm, my charisma, my jokes, because I don't care if she doesn't think they're funny. If she leaves, big deal. She doesn't get my personality. Why would I want to be with her anyway? Okay, see, like, and when it's funny, it's actually ironic because when you're, or for me at least, when I'm letting out 100% of myself, that's when girls like me the most. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this the entire time? Why have I been trying to put up a character? Like when you just don't care and you unapologetically be yourself, I think that's when women can feel that and end up liking you the most.
It's so funny because a lot of guys, their best game was probably when they were in grade school with women, when they thought
Yeah,
women had cooties and women had the ick.
yeah,
Because when I was a second grade teacher, I had already learned all the game. And
yeah,
so I could just see these second grade boys, they go out and they're like, nah, I'm not hanging out with you. I don't want to do this and that. I'm going to go do my thing. No, I'm playing wall ball. No, I'm playing football. And a girl's like
yep,
coming on. It's like, hey, can we play? They're like, no, we're playing. It's boys only. And they're just on their mission doing their thing. And you can see these girls watching them like you can see on this like little level. It's like, that is the natural way of things. And then as guys get older, they just get trained more and more to be a simp and put women on a pedestal. And that
yep,
instinct, that grade school instinct of boys to be like, no, why would I do this for you? You're a girl. Ew. That type of instinct is the one that if you can relearn that and re-engage with that,
yep,
that's when success with women happens.
completely, completely, and that's exactly what I had to go through.
What would you say is a way that you could explain bantering with women? Because that's something that you do really well is you do that playful kind of cocky, funny bantering with women, turning
Yep,
things around that they say. What
yep,
does your mindset think about of how you could teach a guy how to banter more, whether texting or just conversing with women?
yep. So we talk about this a lot in our tribe about being sexual with women, not being afraid to make a sexual joke. And I think there's a right way to do this in a right time because certain things come into play. You need to make sure you have a certain level of attachment, attraction built between you two before you can start doing this or that. If you want to play it more safe, or I guess in another cocky way, what I do is I love putting things on them. When I first started dating the girl that I am now, she would text me. She would find little excuses for me to come back over. She'd be like, "Hey, can I put a Sharpie tattoo on you, on your back? Or can I give you a back massage? Or can we go to the beach?" To which then I would reply with, "Ah, just another excuse to get me with my shirt off, huh? You just see me as a piece of meat." And she would eat it up. Now, again, she already knew my personality at this point, so she kind of knew, I was saying that with a smile, which is decently important.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I love to do is I put it on them because I feel like a lot of women are used to checking their DMs, checking their snaps, and men being outwardly creepy, sexual with them all the time. So when you can put it on them and kind of you play the victim and make them look like the creep, they're like,
Yes.
"Dude, what are you talking about? Me? I'm not being creepy," and it works every time. I think they have a
Yeah.
lot of fun with it.
Role reversal. That's excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, you do a
Yep.
great job with that, where you're making the woman be the one that's chasing. She's trying to get her hands all over you, and you
Yep.
just misinterpret what she says, or to reposition yourself as the prize always. It's like, yeah, of course you'd want to. You want to see with my shirt off again. Of
Yep.
course.
Of
Versus a lot of
course.
guys, if they got a girl reaching out to them, they're just like, oh, I can't wait to see you. Yeah, I can't wait to spend time with you. Rather than you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course you'd want to see me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. I mean, just had a my girl texted me like maybe an hour ago, and she was like, what'd she say? She asked me, she wants to make me a banana bread. And she said, "Do you like chocolate chips in your banana bread?" And I said, "Is that even a question?" And she replies, "Would later this week be a good day for banana bread and movies?" To which I reply, "You could say, oh yeah, yeah, that sounds like a great time. Yeah, yeah, yeah." And right off the bat, I didn't have to think about it. I replied with, "Always tempting me with food, huh?" Question mark. Like it's just like playful banter like that. I mean,
Yes.
I think that's how you engage with women emotionally and get them to really smile and laugh at their phone and think about you more and more. Like I just can't win with this guy. I just can't win with this guy. He's putting me on a zero pedestal.
That energy is so important for guys to understand is that the energy you have is, you're always trying to tempt me with food.
Yep.
The
Yep.
subliminal messaging is you're working hard, tempting me to get a chance to hang out with me.
Mhm.
Versus the energy in, I would say, over 90% of relationships or dating conversations is the woman kind of being like, oh, you're tempting me with a nice meal. Oh, you're tempting me with a nice bottle of wine. And that energy is like where she knows that subliminally that guy is trying so hard to find a way to hang out with her. That is so crucial, so key,
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
so subtle but huge when you understand that difference.
Yep. And it was just a 3, 4 line back and forth, quick little text confirming that we're going to hang out later this week. It was 4 messages long. And the way that I played with her, the way that I bantered with her, always tempting me with food, huh? It's so small and subtle, but it is absolutely crucial to keep her chasing me, to keep her emotionally engaged. And it's these very small tweaks that you can make that are completely a game changer. Completely a game changer.
By the way, side note, a woman just made me banana bread recently, and she asked
Really.
if I wanted chocolate chips, and I said, "Yeah, and butterscotch too." And it was so good. I don't, some people don't like
I can't
butterscotch,
wait,
but if
bro.
you like it, butterscotch chips with chocolate chips and banana bread, oh, that's so good. I'm gonna
She's
have her
pretty
make
good.
that for me again.
She's pretty good at baking, man. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be great, man.
I'm
So,
pumped.
okay, so I actually have a question now. Let's just say,
Yep.
can you remember how old Rich might have handled a situation like that?
Oh yeah, I would have replied with something like, "Oh, that sounds great. Do you need me to bring anything?" Or, "Oh my God, that sounds amazing. You're making the banana bread. Can I bring this or that, or what can I do for you?" Or immediately trying to find a
Mm.
way to make things even per se, or
Yes.
to make it look like, oh no, no, don't do too much to me, which now me and you and Zara talk about this all the time. Why? I used to do this so bad. This is another really good point to bring up. I would rob women of their femininity, dude. Why would I rob them of that? She wants to bake for me. My presence is the gift for her, which I'm not gonna tell her, but I'm gonna bring kind of like a bottle of whiskey or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but why? But first of all, I don't have to say that. Okay, I'm just
Yep.
gonna say that I can't wait. But why would you rob her of that? She can't wait to bake for you. Leave it at that. Just leave it at that.
Okay, and this is huge because I know this is something that really a lot of guys it becomes a game changer for them when they understand that. But robbing a woman of her femininity, she wants to support. She doesn't want to sit on the
Yep.
bench.
Yep.
No person wants to watch their championship, their team win a championship and feel like they didn't contribute. She wants to contribute. So when women offer to buy you coffee, they offer to make you a meal. I used to do the same thing with Rich. I always was like, oh, that sounds awesome, but can I get something like I wanted to go 50-50 with her rather than allowing her to give the gift of giving.
Yep.
It feels
Yep.
good to give. You ever give $10 to a homeless person? It feels good for you just as good as it feels for them to just see your oh man, I'm contributing, I'm helping somebody out. And so let that woman bake that cake. Let her think of you while she's or baking that banana bread. And then when you eat it and you take that bite and you go, dang, this is so good. I love when you bake for me. She gets this huge reward of all of her effort she put in because she contributed. Do you have anything more to say about that idea? Because I know that's so huge for guys.
Of course, yeah. So make sure that you are not robbing her of her femininity, but in turn, there are masculine ways to make sure that she knows that you are thankful and grateful for what she is doing, which why what I just said, she didn't ask me to, she didn't demand it, but out of appreciation, I'm gonna bring a little mixed drink for us. I'll bring something to pair well with our dinner. It's not nothing huge, but it's just again the little subtle things. Just be like, hey, you know what? I really appreciate you going out of your way for doing all this baking. I want us to be able to drink this together as well. So or when if she makes your bed for you, or if, my girl makes me coffee every morning. There are so many ways to thank her and make sure she knows that she's appreciated in masculine ways that are very important.
What's going to be a way that you're going to appreciate her banana bread? Like, how can you visualize and kind of see it playing out to where, something you might say or do after you receive the banana bread?
The one thing that I told her when we first started dating, I said, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, the old tale of a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That's not a wise tale. So I don't want you messing around making something too good, because if you do, you're in trouble. I'm gonna banter with her like that, and I already know
Okay.
she's gonna eat that up. Again, of course, I'll thank her and be like, "This is delicious. I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna love it." And it's just the small little things like that.
I love when
Probably,
you bake for me, like saying stuff like that, because
yep,
again, what's that? You know this, Richard, right? What's that going to
yep.
do in her psychology when you
That's
shape,
gonna
I love bake, I love your baking.
that's going to completely condition her to want to do it over and over and over and over again. And she's going to want to keep
Yes.
on baking for you.
And to any women out there listening or any beta men out there listening going, oh my gosh, you're conditioning her. It's like you are setting up a roadmap for success. When a woman cooks for me, I have complete, genuine appreciation for it. And she gets to feel that too. And now it's like, whoa, we're setting off such a great mood because she did something for me. I'm appreciating that. And guess what? Now she has a roadmap for appreciation. So she can get this boost every time she makes a great meal. Now we have a happy relationship. So when you set up win-wins like that, that is the key to a happy, healthy relationship.
100%. 100%. You need to let them know that they are appreciated for what they're doing in a genuine
Yes,
way.
and I think the fine line is most guys let women know they're appreciating the woman just for showing up on the date. It's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad you came. Oh, you're so great at talking to. I love talking to." It's like they show all this way too heavy appreciation for a girl just showing up rather than you show an appreciation for when she does something to benefit your life. She really earned that appreciation, and now you have a roadmap for success with each other.
Completely.
What is your personal favorite part about Players University?
My favorite part, I think the best part about it is that everyone is constantly upgrading and everyone is constantly, people will have a really good, couple months and then, they'll be dry for them. And then another guy will come up and it's constantly, it's like a big ladder. And in turn, that means all these men in our tribe are constantly pulling each other up, constantly motivating each other. If someone's down on their luck, not having a good year, not having a good month, we can be like, nah, bro, we'll check them. We check each other all the time and make sure we're all staying sharp, all all staying on our game, on our purpose, constantly trying to upgrade ourselves. And I feel like everyone to some degree has dealt with some kind of scenario. You're not going to go in there with a situation and no one has no idea what to do. Everyone has kind of dealt with it all, so we're all there for each other no matter what.
Yeah, and your line, the horoscope thing, I don't know. I don't think we should reveal it to everyone here. We are going to say join Players University and we'll hook you up with Richard's horoscope line because Richard, you inspired me. I'm hanging out with a girl that's an astrologist or she does all the astrology stuff, reads charts
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. And I mentioned this line to her. I was like, what are some ways that you can make this better? And so she went through and gave out a whole list of if you find out any girl's horoscope, like three things that you could connect or relate to her on, and three things that you could challenge her or kind of like give her crap about. So now, if using your whole setup of your line, when guys see a girl's certain horoscope, they will actually have a list. So I'm working on trying to put that together as like a PDF or something to give to Players University members. But that's going to be all inspired by Richard. Richard's going to have all the credit in for that whole PDF because you also get to see, which I love too, is guys take your line, they tweak it a little bit here and there, and then you're like, oh wow, okay, maybe I can use that because I do that all the time. When I see someone use a line, I'm like, oh wow, I love how you took that to that other way that I wasn't seeing before.
100% hasn't failed me yet. It's a pretty good line.
Is there something content wise, psychology wise, or framework or just, a shift in the mind that really was a clicking moment for you? Like something that you were introduced to or that you're just like, whoa, that kind of put things into perspective.
Completely. So the first time when I started putting women in their place and not taking blatant disrespect, and I watched it right in front of me, it end up turning well for me. That was when I was really shocked. Okay, the first time that I told a woman, you know what, no, I'm not carrying your purse, bring it with you. You know what, no, you bring your drink. I'm not carrying it for you. And when I saw them respond well to that, I wasn't a dick about it. I wasn't mean to them, but I just told them straight up. I'm like, hey, you know what? There's a shelf in the bathroom. Put your drink on that. And when they would respond well to that, that was a huge moment when I really realized I'm like that there truly is a whole language to this world, and you just have to learn how to speak it. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, it really is. It's a complete it's a perfectly game set up to misguide men into simping and being betas, but it's also a perfect game set up for guys that are smart enough to dig in and learn how to play this language because everything is backwards. So now you stand out. Like this girl you mentioned, you don't have to mention anything personal with her. I know the girl that you're in a current kind of dating or relationship with, and you're talking about how great things are going. Like
Yep.
what are some things just already? Because you're young, you're not even 24 yet, and
Yeah.
you're getting some really cool things going on in a relationship for guys to understand. It's like you don't have to be a player your whole life. But like what
Yep.
is your relationship right now teaching you about like things that you didn't know were kind of possible before with women?
God. Yeah. I mean, when you're put on game and you know how to respond to shit tests and pass them, how to bring a masculine energy to allow her to be in her feminine energy. Adam, I was telling you about this, man. This is my first time I mean, not even that we're in it yet, but as far as being in a serious, committed, long term, quote unquote, relationship, I've never really done that. I kind of just been doing the whole player thing for a while. And now that this is kind of a new thing, I'm really recognizing the total beauty and peace of a relationship with a masculine man and a feminine woman and what those two can bring to each other on a daily basis. I mean, it's incredible. It's one of the best things I've ever experienced. It's awesome. It's a new thing every day. It's so much fun, and we really enjoy each other's company. But I don't think I would have been able to do that if I wasn't put on game first, because having that game foundation beforehand is very important before entering, a more serious relationship.
Yeah, because everything in the dating process is just repeated over and over and over again in a relationship. And so if
Yep.
you're making the small mistakes over time, the relationship gets worse and she grows unattracted to you. If you're making the right moves, handling the tests and all that stuff over time, she just becomes more devoted to you in that relationship. So
Yep.
let's bring up women a little bit here because we can get hard on women, but I understand why there's been guys been treated very poorly by women. I understand, but I also understand, like you said, how great that feeling is that a feminine woman can bring to your life that you don't get from any masculine or just your buddies or even your dog. And so when you get that side of women, when you earn that side of women and unlock that side of women, what are some things just you can compliment right now your girl without saying anything about your girl? Like, what are some things that she does that just like you're like, dang, that's nice to have a girl in my life?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that piece that she brings, I mean, it constantly pushes me to want to be a better man because whenever I'm with her, and whenever I'm not with her, I just know that she fully supports me and fully believes in me and just sees this potential within me. And I know that I'm not the best I can be yet. I grow every day. And it just pushes me and makes me want to become better and better and better. And in turn, she just becomes even more enthralled with me. And it just makes me feel more proud of myself, more proud of the relationship that me and her are building. She's told me numerous times. I mean, I can't tell you how many times she's mentioned this to me, but she'll say to me, I love hanging out with you so much because I literally do not have to think. I just follow you. You make the decisions for us. You bring us out to wherever we're eating dinner. I can just stare at my feet and count the butterflies and have fun. And that is the energy that you were looking for. That is the essence of feminine energy, just going with the flow, following your lead, enjoying the moment. And in turn, when she's doing that, that makes me feel even more, yeah, you know what? I am the man. I'm totally leading this right now. I got this. You can 100% trust me. Tells me all the time, if we're in a traffic jam and just for 4th of July, we uh we went to a cool fireworks show and there was hella traffic on the way back. And car, it was all crazy and all that. And I whipped it around, we are going the other way. And I was like, hold on, I'm bringing us the other way. Don't worry about it. And cars were like zooming past and all that. And she goes, without even looking up, she's looking out the window. She's like, okay, I completely trust you. You'll get us there. And just that feeling of a woman next to you that totally trusts you, that makes you want to be even better of a man. And I don't think I can describe that feeling even better because I mean it's amazing.
It's a beautiful feeling. And women, when we talk about hypergamy, where they're always wanting the best, highest ass man, so women will always push a man to do better, but there's two distinct different energies. A lot of times you'll hear in marriages or relationships with like a beta guy, that woman will constantly badger him. You're not doing enough. Get off the couch. You're being lazy. She's pushing that guy to do better because she knows that he can do better. But that's a whole different energy when that girl comes in with that feminine energy of like, hey, I believe
Yep.
in you. I know you're going to figure this out. I'm not even worried about it because I know the potential you have. It's the same underlying kind of message, but presented in a completely different way when you have that feminine energy from a woman or the masculine energy. Because that masculine energy with a woman, If she says that to me, I'm like, get out of my life. I don't want, I'm no, get out of here. You're done. If that feminine girl says, oh, I believe in you, you got so much potential, I'm like, dang, I want to take you along for this ride because you're right. I do got a lot of potential and I'm going to show you that.
Completely, completely.
What do you know today about women, dating, relationships that you would teach old Richard about if you could? You come back, you go to a time machine 5 years since you've been learning the game quick. Just 5 years ago, you jump back in that time machine. What do you tell Richard to put him on game?
Yep. I would tell him, forget about what year you're in, forget about what social media is pushing right now. I would tell him, women have always been and forever will be women. Okay. They're not changing. They've always been the same. They've always been acting the same. I think that the way that these feminist, masculine women are acting is because of the men they're around. Okay. I think that we take accountability for how they're acting, you know, the toxic femininity, as we like to call it. I would tell them that pretty much the game will always be the same. Women will always be women. So I think that you need to learn how to be a better man to get the results that you want. Because it all starts with you. It all starts with men. Men being men is what I believe, and that's what I would tell them. I would tell them that the game that these women will respond to is the same now as it will be when you're 23, 24.
And could you, if you were to try to visualize old Richard from that time machine in your relationship now, could you see it being the same dynamic right now, or would it be totally different?
Absolutely not. I would be putting her on a pedestal. You know, she's the prize. I would run that business to the ground within a week. I would ruin all of the accomplishments I've made up until this point, right into the ground.
All right, and I have just a curious question because you are so young, man. That's just very cool. Are there
Yeah,
still things like that you're looking forward to mastering or learning in this dating state, the dating game, the relationship game? Like, are there still things you're like wondering about? It's like, maybe I want to get better at this or that, or like, how is your mind processing that right now?
yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not exactly sure where things will lead with the girl I'm dating now, but if it ends up being in a more serious relationship, like I said, I've never been in one of those before. So I'm very excited to see what that looks like down the road, maybe getting into something long term. Just because I've never done it before or done it with game per se. So I'm really excited to see what what kind of level of attachment, what kind of level of connection can be built over a long term rather than just doing, the player life, the one night stands, the friends with benefits. I think that being able to really dig your teeth into something more meaningful will be something really cool to experience that I have yet to be able to go through.
Yeah, and that's something that we talked about, which I'm excited about too, because
Yeah,
Players University, it's like we teach you how to be a player and play the game, but most guys want the end goal of at least developing some type of good connection with one good quality, high quality woman. And so I was talking with Rich about this earlier in the community. It's like this is exciting too because now as Rich or Richard has any questions that come up, now our community gets to learn too more of that relationship game because as more questions come up, I know Lucas is in a long-term relationship and we have maybe a couple other guys, but it's going to be exciting to be able to dissect that part of the game too, so that this is really the whole kind of education from dating to relationship that guys can learn from and learn from guys like yourself that are experiencing it.
totally. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to see, what kind of comes from it, the advice that other men can give me in the tribe, and just to see what comes from it.
All right, so I want to leave you with this, Richard. Loved having you on. This is great. Is there anything that you want to leave guys with? Any thoughts, any advice, uh anything? You got the floor is yours.
Completely. Well, first of all, yeah, thank you for having me on, man. It's been a blast. Love being in the tribe, Players University. It's amazing. And if I had to leave men with anything, I would say that no matter who you are or what your situation is or how sunken into the beta mindset you are, you can come back. Literally anyone, anyone can be put on game. Anyone can reinvent themselves, and anyone can make a complete 180 in 6 months, a year and a half. I mean, I'm only about a year and a half in, and the me a year ago is completely unrecognizable to the me today. And the success that I'm having with women today is unimaginable by me a year ago. I had no idea that I could be doing what I am today, you know, a year ago. So I truly believe that anyone can make a change. Anyone.
Love that. Love that advice. And like I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. Like that was, it's like you're a young guy and we wanted to get you on the podcast because I've seen firsthand how quickly you have just picked it up, soaked it up, and then implemented it. And now you have this great relationship going right now,
Of
which is
course.
really cool to see. So
Yep.
I appreciate it, Richard.
Very
Thanks for
much.
coming on. And if you guys want to chat with Richard, join up in the Players University. We got guys like Richard, myself, Czar. We got Justin. We got a lot of other guys that are just ready to give you guys real good advice to help you on your journey wherever you're at. So we'll see you guys inside Players University. And that wraps up our episode with Richard. Thanks again, Richard. You can chat with Richard, get his advice inside Players University, along with myself, Czar, and many others. And do not forget, guys, I am teaching you what I believe is the master class on seducing women, the framework for how to do it in the three most crucial areas: the communication stage, the hangout stage, and then the sexual stage. Reminder, my live seminar series. The first time I'm ever teaching this, I'm going to take you all through it, have plenty of time for Q&A to make sure that every guy joining understands masterful seduction. Join now. Link will be in the bio. It starts August 12th. Love to see you inside. I'm telling you guys, this is elite level, master level game. I don't think you'll hear another person ever talk about this and how crucial these three stages are. So this will be on Zoom. We'll be live going through a 4-week seminar program. This is going to start August 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And those of you that know me know that if you have more questions, I will stay later because I want you guys to master this, understand this. Register now, get in there now, get that little early discount and create masterful seduction, guys. This is what I'm telling you. This is elite level game. This is another tier of game. Link in the bio of the show notes of the podcast, or you can register at textingprince.com/seduction, all lowercase. I will see you guys inside. Remember, August 12th, mark your calendars.